You're being recorded now?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. Got it. All right. So I also just want to say that in February, and Mark mentioned this, but I'll reiterate it, Kurt Bogany is going to be speaking. And then in March, which Mark didn't mention, we're looking to have Jeff Lundy, the new commissioner for the area, and then one of his administrative staff. And he's going to talk about what the commissioner does, number one, and number two, a lot of the resources that are available with the CARES Act, et cetera, et cetera. So I think very helpful for businesses, especially. That gives everybody a little bit of time to figure out whatever the new stimulus is that comes out here with the new administration, and should be timely. So without further ado, I do want to introduce our very special speaker today, Jack Elsnes from the Community Emergency Action Program for Brooklyn Center. Serves primarily Brooklyn Center, Brooklyn Park, but he'll get into all the details of that. You might hear my wife in the background, so I can be very quick and then mute myself. He's a St. John's graduate in 2014 in political science, and he's kind of a hometowner or close to hometowner. Grew up in Champlin Park, went to Champlin Park High School there. He is the Community Engagement Manager of CEAP. And welcome, Jack. Thanks for coming out to speak with us today.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. Let me pull up this real quick. Great. Let's see. Okay, I am off. That's more button. And we should be good. Okay. Do you see CEAP growing a stronger community right now?
Yes.
We do.
Yep,
Awesome.
we do.
Perfect. Great. Well, thank you for having me. So I'm from Brooklyn Park. I went to Champlin Park High School. I graduated in 2010 with that degree in political science. So graduating from college, I actually worked on multiple political campaigns and got into fundraising that way. And so my position here at CEAP, I started here in August of this year. And this is my second nonprofit job prior to working on political campaigns. My last job was actually in Baltimore, Maryland, and in another nonprofit that was similar to CEAP. And so working in direct service has actually been a lot of fun for me, to say the least. And especially fundraising for it is every day is a little bit different. It's also very rewarding. So I'm very lucky. Beyond just working at CEAP, my passions lie in, I love watching sports. I'm a Vikings, Twins, Timberwolves fan primarily, and then I've also recently gotten to golf. So it's nice being back home after living in Maryland for 2.5 years. It's pretty awesome. So, and then yes, my role at CEAP, I am the Community Engagement Manager, and my role is really divided between two segments. Is our donors. So I'm the contact person for anybody who's donating in-kind goods, but also financially. And then our community groups, like our Rotaries, like this group, and our churches. And so I'm kind of the face of CEAP. I would describe it beyond just our president, Claire. So anyways, I will move on here. I just wanted to go quick details about CEAP's history, which I find really personally very interesting. CEAP was founded by Brooklyn Center resident Madeline Roche in April of 1970. So we're pushing over 50 years now. And really it was a response to the growing need for human services in Brooklyn Center and Brooklyn Park. CEAP was finally incorporated as a tax-exempt charitable organization in 1971. And CEAP is actually operated out of multiple locations throughout the community. First, it was Catholic Church, or St. Alphonsus, right around the corner from where we are now. And then it actually moved to the old Brooklyn Center City Hall until 1977 when I was doing my research. It burnt down, which you guys may actually know about that more than I would. And then we went from another location, and then finally in 2012, we finally moved to where we are today, which is at the Northwest Family Service Center in partnership with the county, Osceola School District, and really just the idea of wraparound services where our participants who are coming, they can come to us, or they're going upstairs to Hennepin County, and the county will funnel them to us, or the other way around, of course, if depending on what the need is really, which is pretty amazing. And that's kind of like the background of CEAP. There's other things that have happened throughout time, but that's just the general overview. I always like to mention just the mission here, just because it's, I think, essential to who we are as a whole. CEAP mobilizes resources, shares abundance, and nourishes neighbors to create and celebrate a healthier, stronger, and connected community. And our vision, as said, is CEAP inspires collaboration and cooperation with our partners and neighbors to live a healthier, more connected lives in which every person feels loved, safe, and nourished. And here are our priorities. So I will reference these throughout the time I'm talking. And I have to say that CEAP has been exceptionally lucky with the pandemic. We've had limited stoppage of service due to employees getting COVID. I think it's only happened 3 times since I've been here. And we've really gotten it down to a point where if someone on staff does have or does test positive, we're normally shut down for 2 days at the max, because we all can get tested right down the block here, right by the target, and then we get back to work typically a day or 2 days later. So, and what we've been really lucky about is receiving the CARES fund that's was mentioned earlier, where we've received so much money to purchase more food, more than ever actually, which has been pretty cool. So. And then just the basics of the community. 1 in 10 Minnesotans and more than 500,000 residents are food insecure on a regular basis. In 2020, CEAP saw over 20,000 families visiting our food shelves. And since the beginning of the pandemic, CEAP has seen a 130% increase in brand new participants, folks who literally have never come here before. We've even had people who have been like donors who have given in past years have come to CEAP now, which is kind of shocking to say the least. So, and then serving CEAP, we are the fastest growing area of suburban poverty in Minnesota. Our community includes 4 food deserts, making access to fresh food, fresh and affordable produce at the food shelf is critical. CEAP provides over 1.5 million pounds of food in the community annually. Almost 1 million of those pounds is through food rescue, which is pretty amazing. And that food rescue program is through our local grocery stores, Walmart, Cub, Hy-Vee, so on and so forth. 84% of our working families are under the age or under the federal poverty guidelines. 90% of our participants are coming from Hennepin County suburbs. The crazy number, which I just learned about recently or updated, is the Meals on Wheels number. We serve 46,865 meals just between Brooklyn Park and Brooklyn Center, and over 67,000 in Metro total. And then 937 individuals have received housing assistance since the beginning of that program. If you would like to know what a food desert is, I have actually did a little research on it, and it's basically there's I think 4 or 5 different qualifications for it, and it's all based on distance. And so there's details, and I know like the one that I found, one of the details or one of the specifics is that it's like it defines food deserts as having at least 33% or 500 people of a census tract population in an urban area living 1 mile from a large grocery store. And there's other ones too. It gets more complicated, I suppose. anyways, we'll continue. So CEAP's programs. We have housing assistance, senior programs, mobile food, our food market, and our seasonal programs. And I'll go into detail in all these as we go on here, starting with housing assistance and senior programming. So when it comes to housing assistance, we are one of the major partners within Hennepin County providing housing assistance. This funding mechanism does change depending on where we're getting the funding. So this might come from the county, may come from the state, or may come from the federal. Right now, I believe it is coming from the county. And so when a participant calls us at CEAP, we tell them actually to go to our website. They fill out a form. That form gets sent to our housing specialist, Natasha, and Natasha calls them back, talks to them, and walks them through the entire process. And this housing assistance can be given out for 6 months, and anybody who has been affected by COVID or affected financially over COVID. And so we've had, like I said, 937 individuals receiving housing assistance. I think at the end of the end of December this year, we spent, I think, close to $800,000 keeping people in their homes. I know some of the, depending on where that funding mechanism is actually coming from, that funding was unlimited for individuals. Right now, it's just 6 months. And I think the future holds is that our idea is that we're applying for another funding or another grant where we are looking to be able to really hone in the idea of what are the chasms of what are families going through, if that might be unemployment, so working to get jobs, or just finding the root cause of what individuals are going through during this time, rather than just housing, keeping people in their homes, which is obviously necessary, but looking further if we get that housing grant. Our senior programs, our seniors specifically work with Daisy. She's a senior coordinator. She helps find or assist in finding resources in our community, from housing, our Silver Selects program, which is related to food, transportation, and many other things. And then she used to, prior to COVID, go to senior community centers and senior living centers to answer any questions that seniors may have. And so her role has been slightly augmented because of COVID, as many of our programs really have been. So I transitioned into our mobile services. And really what I mean by mobile services, and this is a little bit of obviously our Meals on Wheels program, which I'll go into a little more detail about. But so right now we're relatively averaging 80 families a day, maybe a little bit less since after the holiday season. And what we provide, which I'll go into more detail here in a second, is our self-care kits. We have diapers, we have holiday items, we have school supplies, and everything is really done through our drive-through services, and having a groups of or individuals of volunteers who are volunteering at CEAP. So our volunteer program, which again, we have really rethought the entire program, and we've definitely have less volunteers. We've made it COVID friendly. So we have a crew of up to 8 volunteers on a given shift. Each shift starts the morning shift starts at 8:30 and ends at noon. The next shift starts at noon and goes to 3:30, which is a time period between our, obviously when our participants call to schedule an appointment. Each person has a designated position, either being packing bread bags, shelf-stable boxes, produce boxes, or working the front desk, or sorting food donations. Our guests call our main line to schedule an appointment. And like I mentioned, it's 9 to 3:30, Monday through Thursday, actually. And then Friday, it's 9 to noon. And a frequently asked question is how does one sign up for our food shelf? We get that kind of often, just as a basic question. And it's really the idea, like I mentioned, with the priorities. It's really about access. So prior to COVID, it used to be a little bit more, you had to meet with somebody, we asked you questions and see what the situation happened to be. And now it's really streamlined. Individuals just call us. We ask them if they're brand new, we ask them where they live, how many folks in their household, a phone number, and other detailed instructions about when they arrive, like just pull up your vehicle, we'll bring out the groceries, and that's it. So it's really been streamlined, and again, the idea of access has been essential to what we're providing here at CEAP. So, okay, I'm going to continue. Our CEAP essentials. So obviously we have these really nice pictures of what they kind of look like. It's the idea of these boxes that we were giving out. Well, I guess I'll back up for one step. Before, participants used to come in, they used to physically shop for themselves. So they had, just like we would at the grocery store, we have essentially two or three grocery aisles at CEAP, where one side has all our canned goods, a few miscellaneous items. Another aisle has all of our produce, and another aisle essentially has all of our meat, our frozen meat. And so our boxes are, again, like I mentioned, put together by volunteers, and it should last a family for at least a couple of weeks. At least that's the goal. And the items include green beans, canned fruit, canned protein, soup, flour, oil, peanut butter, and jelly, and other things. Our bread bags are, again, it's a lot of that's rescued food from the grocery stores around the metro, and as far as Plymouth, actually. And then our produce, depending on the day, so some of that is rescued, but we just signed a new contract with Bix Produce, and so we have actually been lucky and fortunate enough to be able to purchase more food for our participants. So most of it's really fresh, and especially when it comes to the produce, every item is picked through before it's given out, which is why we need our volunteers, of course. And then also we give out eggs, milk, cheese, and butter, which again, we've been really fortunate. We've had other funding sources to make sure that we are able to distribute these items, which families obviously really, really appreciate. So, okay, on to the next. So our holiday services and seasonal programs. So this may look different than every year that we've ever had here at CEAP, but it's this year has been, I would say, a relative success. So, and so we have our holiday essentials, our toys, gift cards, baking kits, school supplies, coats, and we have obviously Valentine's Day coming up. And so I'll start with the fall, just because that's when I got here. We this year got a huge donation from a partner in the community, where we got 2,000 backpacks with school supplies within them. And those backpacks were distributed in 3 days. It was lines all the way to Brooklyn Boulevard. It was pretty amazing to see. We didn't have a requirement for families. They didn't have to sign up prior to this event. They just rolled up into our drive-through services, and we gave them backpacks. And again, they went at 3 days, which was pretty amazing. Later in the fall, late fall, early winter, we, like every year, Pilgrims does a coat drive for us, and so we distributed about 1,000 coats to the community. And that went relatively smoothly. It was getting a little bit cold at the end, but it went, again, got all 1,000 coats distributed in a matter of about a week. And that was actually done by scheduling an appointment through our food shelf rather than the backpacks were not. And then this year with our holidays, as typically how we do is we call it Toys for Joy. And we partner with Toys for Tots, where we typically take in thousands of toys. And we have 2,000 to 3,000 families who walk through our building during the holiday season to pick out toys for the family. So this year looked a little bit different, or very different. We had toys donated by a few different companies and individuals, we didn't make the broadcast as or the ask as strong as we have in the past, mainly because we just didn't know how this was going to look in this year. So we were able to distribute toys. We did it over an 8-day period where I think we had 560 families go through our drive-through services, where each family was able to get some toys. We had a prepackage, like we prepackage everything right now as well. We really cut down the ages as well. So we were 0 to 5 and 6 to 10 was the age range, rather than in past years we've done 17 and under. And then, so we served, like I mentioned, 560 families to our food market, and that was actually about 2,200 individuals between those 8 days. So we're still impacting the community. It's just a little bit different, which is great. And we were also, we asked the community for gift cards this year, which was a little bit different. So we were able to distribute those gift cards to our families as well. And then obviously we have Valentine's Day coming up, which we theme everything here. We like to have structure when it comes to what we're asking for, when it comes to our community. And so right now we are packing up Valentine's Day bags, which will come with quilts that a church in the community makes every single year. It's 2 kids quilts. It's school supplies or like markers, crayons, things like that. Stuffed animals that were donated to us recently, and we received a huge candy donation as well from, I believe, Target. So we're able to pack these bags up and be able to, again, through drive-through services, distribute those Valentine's Day bags, which we're calling CEAP Essential Kids Love Strong, which is kind of exciting. So, okay, moving on here. So Meals on Wheels, I hadn't mentioned it much about it. We do it right now since of COVID. We here at our CEAP Brooklyn Center location do it every 2 weeks, and they're frozen meals now, rather than prior to COVID, we used to do it daily. And recently we have had the opportunity to merge with another Meals on Wheels program. So a conversation that happened long before I was here, the Crystal site for Meals on Wheels approached us to merge both of us, and so we are the funding mechanism now for 2 Meals on Wheels programs, and we call it now Northwest or North Suburban Hennepin Meals on Wheels. And that program is actually based in Crystal, New Hope, Robbinsdale, Golden Valley, Plymouth. They do about 12 routes every single day, and I think it averages it out to be about 80 meals. And they're still doing daily routes or daily meals as well to their participants. And so we actually, I think in total between both locations it's about 1,700 meals in total every 2 weeks. So again, a lot of meals are going out to our families and our community. And with actually CARES funding, the limit, it's Meals on Wheels has loosened up the regulations. So it's not actually always going to be just seniors who are participating in this program. It can actually be anybody between the ages of 18 and up now. And so we have at CEAP seen a huge increase of people requesting this service. And now I think just here in CEAP or Brooklyn Center, we have seen 459 new Meals on Wheels participants in 1 year. And that's just, we need more volunteers, which we're actually fine for Meals on Wheels volunteers right now, but we're just seeing so many new individuals in this program because of the need and people not wanting to leave their houses, which is good that we can be here. So that's kind of the programming update on our side of the world when it comes to our main programs between Meals on Wheels, housing assistance, and our food shelf. And then obviously I always get to how can neighbors support neighbors. So there's a few different options. We can host a drive, of course, so food or financial. You can volunteer. We are taking volunteers on a single day basis now, where before it was a little bit different, where we're just asking our hardcore volunteers to schedule a day per week. And so most of our volunteers are like that now, but we do have brand new volunteers coming every week now. Obviously you can donate. And then obviously March food share is coming up, which is really essential to programming for us. And so this year, March Food Share, or what we call it, or how we brand it, is the CEAP Community Challenge, where our goal is to raise $150,000 and 250,000 pounds of food. This program will be, or this drive will be taking place between March 1st and April 11th. And with March Food Share, every donation and pound raised will be matched in some way by Minnesota Food Share. We will have volunteer opportunities on March 12th, 19th, 26th, April 2nd, and we have shifts if you are interested in getting a group together to volunteer. Yeah, it's a really essential thing. We will have this year, or this March, a $50,000 match by an anonymous donor, which we're, again, very privileged and very lucky to have the donors we've had and over this time period really stepping up to for the community, really. And so we'll have every dollar is given for those first 50,000 will be matched by that anonymous donor. So that will go obviously a long ways towards hitting our goal for the month, so, or those 6 weeks. So otherwise, that is the most up-to-date, that's CEAP right now, present day. I know I always talk relatively quickly. Do we have questions right now?
What type of, when you say the March Food Share, what type of things can a group like ours do to help? Like you asked, I think you mentioned something about volunteers, or what kind of programs could we put together to be of help with that?
That's a great question. So it really depends on your level of comfortability when it comes to being in person. And so our groups that we're asking to volunteer in person is up to 8. Or you can put together a food or financial drive. It kind of depends. And the food that we're asking for, or the donations we're specifically asking for, I can get you a list here. Participants can send this out as well. It's peanut butter jelly, cereal, baby food, formula, canned meats, fruits, all the same things that you typically would donate. And the thing that I always stress as well is actually baby diapers and baby wipes. And we go through them like you would have, you don't know. So it would be those things. And so, yes, we are having in-person volunteers and then financial and food drives as well. Excuse me.
Can you put together a list and email that for me? Because you know the office building that we're in, we could possibly send something out to our members and so forth. Plus, I'm sure the landlords here at our office building would be interested in being involved with something like that. So we could create a drop-off site here, and then
that I can definitely send out our action kit.
Yep.
And so we have that already put together, and I can send it to you whenever you like.
Yeah, go ahead and send that out. I'll present it to the board, I think next week. And I'm sure they'll want to help with that. But, and even if you have 2 kits, send them, because I can think of another office building, the one where we used to have our office, and the owner there is still a member of our group. He could possibly do a similar type of thing in that office building, which is 6 floors as opposed to the 2 floors that we have.
Oh,
here.
wow.
So,
okay.
yeah, so I'd bring that to his attention too, and I'm sure he'd be willing to help out.
That sounds perfect. Yeah, that'd be, and I'll send it to you. It's in a PDF, so you can see it's like 4 sheets.
Yep.
And it'll go into detail about not just our food drive, but volunteering and the whole 9.
Yep.
So
I just saw our landlord walk in a minute ago, so
No,
There's two of them, so I'll go stop and visit with them and put a bug in their ear, and then I'll forward them that information, and we'll get something rolling here.
it's perfect. And they'll explain in there on the sheet as well when we would like folks to be able to drop it off.
Sure.
And this year's March Food Share specifically has been absolutely, it's been slimmed down to the extent of like what we're asking of the community.
Right. Well, it sounds like you've got some specific types of things that you want.
Yeah. I think it's easier. And in all past years, we've actually had this like huge plan where we're asking restaurants specifically this, grocery stores specifically this, volunteers this, and this time it's just like, here's the 3 things we need. Here's how you can help.
Right. We don't need macaroni and cheese or SpaghettiOs. We need diapers. We need antibacterial wipes. We need things.
Yeah. And food is not like, we have macaroni and cheese on this list, but
eat to stay healthy.
Yeah. Or like, it's one of those random things that we always need is like sliced bread. Like, you wouldn't think it, but
What's it called? Spiced bread?
Oh no, sliced bread, just regular loaves of bread. Yeah, just regular loaves of bread. Because we don't always get it in our food rescue. And so once in a while, actually, I have a gentleman who comes weekly. His name's Dave, and he goes all the way to Plymouth Hy-Vee. And Dave brings back, most of the time, it's sliced bread or loaves of bread. And it's just always, I always appreciate it because we go, again, we're putting out, 80 bags of bread on a daily. It goes fast.
Right.
I've got a couple of questions for you, Jack. You mentioned you take donations. Is the donation center the building there on Brooklyn Boulevard, or is it somewhere else?
Great
That's
question.
The first question, then another question after that.
Oh, okay, yeah. So yes, it's Noble and Brooklyn Boulevard, right past Park Center High School. That's where we're located. You can, if you have any donations, you can pull to the back, and someone will open up the back door, and we'll take your donations from there.
Well, and I just assumed that Brett, you were the $50,000 donor.
No, that was Sonny again. That was Abe. Second question. In one of the earlier slides, you mentioned 84% of somebody was under the federal poverty guidelines. Is that Brooklyn Center City folks, or Robbinsdale, or Brooklyn Park, or just parts of each of those? Or
that is everybody who is coming to us. So that could be, again, most of the people who are coming to CEAP are from Brooklyn Park and Brooklyn Center. I didn't get the percentage of that, of like what those two communities are combined, but I know it's the vast majority. And so, yeah, that's the number. Let's see, 84% of total, but.
Got it. Okay. Other questions anybody has?
What was that 84%? They're below the
federal poverty guidelines.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
If anybody's shy and wants to type one into the chat, we can ask that question too. I don't think we have a problem with that with this group, though, for the most part.
Definitely not shy. Neat statistics there. I guess sad statistics, right? But nice to see, and obviously with COVID, everybody knows that that there's more usage than usual, and obviously shortage. But you don't really realize how bad it is until you see some of it. So thank you for the presentation and the info.
Yeah, absolutely.
I actually did Facebook, what is it, a direct message, instant message to Tim Roach, who was Madeline Roach's son.
Oh, funny.
Hoping that he would respond and sit in on our meeting, but he didn't. He's probably busy working or still in bed. But she just passed away. He was one of our city council members. Meg, you might not have known that years ago. He was one of our city council members, and it was his mom that helped get CEAP off the ground
Mhm.
back in the 70s. So it would have been fun to have him hop online, but
Yeah.
he didn't. So
That's all right.
Any other questions from anybody?
And,
Got any questions? Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, yeah, feel free to contact me if you have any questions or any needs that you may have, or like you have any questions about our needs specifically. I love talking about CEAP. So.
Sounds good. Jack, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing all that good information.
Yeah.
Back to you, Mark.
And if I
go
could,
ahead.
Brett, I sent you some information that might be useful in how to access this video. But it was great information. Thank you, Jack. And
Yeah.
I'd like to share that recording if we can. So.
Yeah,
Sounds
absolutely.
great.
Did you email that to me, Andy?
Yep. Just like
Okay.
a minute.
Yeah,
and a half.
before I close everything out, I'll take a look at that.
Okay.
Okay.
And then we did during the course of this, I was kind of checking in on stuff because, like Andy had mentioned, he was worried that some people didn't get the links. And I don't know if Federico Roll had been one of the people that registered, but
Yep.
he did email me, and he's the principal at Northport Elementary. Back in the day, I think that's who we donated those kid packs when we split the golf tournament proceeds with.
Yep.
That one and who was the other one? Timber Bay, I think. And so he is really interested in becoming more involved with the BCBA again. And so I think we might have had a wrong email for him. So I forwarded that message to you, Andy, just in case the email I think might be slightly different than what I had on my computer. So maybe it is on yours too. But with that, I guess we'll all get back to work, or maybe you'll be like me and go to Mall of America. And I'm only going because my iPad has developed a virus, Andy, where when I go onto my schedule, my planner, it's got all these funky things on it. So
I hope you're not planning on go to the Apple store because they're all closed right now.
oh, are they?
Yeah.
Gosh darn it.
Rosedale has one too if you want to go a little
But they're-
closer, but that's closed too.
They're
Yeah.
all closed.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have told him.
Maybe I'll come to Andy's house instead, see if he can fix my virus.
There's another place. If I remember, it's Uptown on Hennepin there. That
I know which one you're talking about, tech something.
yeah.
Hey, Mark,
Yeah, they do Apple stuff.
you know what? There's a local place in Brooklyn Park that a lady does it out of her house, does computer repair. They used to have a store in Northtown or something like that, but she does it out of her house now. I'll text you that information. We had our daughter's computer fixed there, and she did a great job.
When it's a weird virus. It's just on my calendar. It's weird, and it's not doing anything except creating all these like emojis type things. But it's there.
Keep it local. She'll take good care of you.
Yeah.
Sign her up too.
All
Yeah.
right. Good point. Yeah.
So, and Meg, I appreciate that list that you sent us. I haven't had time to do anything with it, but I'm probably going to start looking at it more closely today. That's a lot of businesses in Brooklyn Center. Where are they all hiding? They must be all home operated businesses. That's
A lot of them are, yeah.
yeah. What was it, like 1,800 and some?
Yeah.
So we'll start with the ones that are most likely to become members, because I took some statistics off of the North Hennepin Area Chamber directory and saw which businesses, like insurance companies was one of them, lawyers and realtors were some of the higher number of industries that were likely to join an association or business networking group. So we'll start with them and gradually get to the landscapers, who are the least likely probably to join the group. So, but thanks again, Jack. It was really good to have you. We still have your check sitting in our office here. If you ever want to borrow it, you can always have the 3-foot one and use it.
Oh, thank you. Yes, thank you.
But it's just it was just a drop in the bucket. But you know, I think it was Andy, who's sitting right next to you. Actually, he was the one that kind of indicated in our meeting when we were thinking, a lot of the food shelves and different groups that help people are really struggling, and that's when I think we said let's work with CEAP, because if they're not doing it, they're helping other groups that are doing it as well, not just your own. I didn't hear anything about that in your conversation. You do help other similar organizations as well, don't you?
I don't know that answer, actually.
Yeah. Like, don't you help other smaller food? Like, we used to have one in Brooklyn Center called, what was it, the Community Corner, Brooklyn Center Community Corner. And then I'm sure there's smaller ones hid here and there in churches and so forth. But I would guess that you have some kind of network developed with a lot of.
Yeah. So I would describe how we're connected is that we have Second Harvest.
Yep.
Which is like the umbrella almost to a certain extent. They're like this distribution aspect to everything,
Yep.
but we're the ones providing direct service.
Yep.
So we're not, obviously they're their own entity compared to CEAP. But yeah, I don't think we have assisted any other like smaller versions of ourselves. I don't think.
Okay.
And we used to have a thrift store, and we'll hopefully go back to having one. Again, we just right now it's too difficult.
Yep, that's a nice way to work a program sometimes. I was, one of my first commercial businesses was Northside Child Development Center in North Minneapolis. It was a church or a daycare, and it was run by Catholic Charities. It started out being run by Control Data, and then as Catholic Charities took over and stuff, they actually reached out to the home daycares and helped them and assisted them. Like, if they suddenly found out that they needed better furniture or more furniture, or they had a donation of furniture, then they would take all these little tables, that the kids sit at, and donate them to the in-house daycares providers in the community.
Oh,
So
wow.
that's, that kind of thing I think is really beneficial when it comes to nonprofits and people that do the type of work that you do. Because I think our actual Brooklyn Center Community Corner shut down, didn't it? Or has relinquished some of its services? Meg,
I think it just morphed into something else.
Oh,
Yeah, I couldn't find my mute button there. Yeah, I don't think it's operating right now.
Well, I think it's still operating in some form, but it's not like it used to be. It doesn't have the same type of services that CEAP has. And I think it used to, but back when we raised some golf tournament funds for them. So, or maybe they just seen that you were doing such a good job that there was no longer a need for them. Hopefully.
Well, one of the great things about CEAP is that we are right below the school district, or right across the hallway from the school district. And prior to COVID, we used to put on activities in our activity room where we had classes, we had yoga, we had all these cool things where it really was a true community and so we're missing that now. We had Farm Fresh Fest in our parking lot every Friday of the year. And so it's just, right now it's the basics of 3 things, but we used to do, even more than we did now. So.
Yeah, we'll have to enlighten Jack a little bit as he gets to be more of a long-term member here in Brooklyn Center, Brooklyn lower Brooklyn Park area, there's actually 3 school districts in this community.
Oh, I know. I mean, North Hen or Anoka Hennepin. Trust me, I had friends
Okay,
who lived
good.
in Brooklyn Center, and Osseo, obviously. And then what's the third one? Is it Cooper?
Robbinsdale, 281.
Okay, that's what it is. Okay.
Yeah. So that
Yeah,
includes
Robbinsdale.
Cooper, and Armstrong and, yeah. Well,
North
thanks
Port.
ag- Yep, yep. Well, thanks again, Jack. It's, you
Yeah.
know, I'm watching our attendees drop like flies. People are holding up fingers to me, so I'm thinking they're telling me it's time to wrap
Yeah.
up.
No worries. Well, thank you guys, and have a great rest of your day.
Yep, same to you.
Okay.
See ya.
Okay. See you guys later. I got a client, I'm sure, that's going to be walking through the door.
Yeah,
So-
I'll give you a heads
Thank
up.
you.
Come over.
Mark,
Yeah.
I just texted
Thank
you the
you.
computer repair
Okay.
place.
Thank you. We'll
Okay.
see you later.
All right, thanks.
Bye, Deb.
Yep. You sent me a link for that computer place?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I emailed it to you or
I
texted
don't
it
know,
to you.
I don't know what this is. It's just weird.